Good evening, everyone. We're following major developments on multiple fronts tonight, including a big announcement from the CDC that vaccinated Americans can now go maskless in most places. And breaking news on the potential legal peril for Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, now that his wingman is expected to plead guilty on multiple charges. But we begin the readout tonight with a Republican Party enthralled by lies. A day after her ouster, the newly excommunicated Congresswoman Liz Cheney is not backing down in her fight against the two articles of faith in the current Republican Party. The first being the disgraced, twice impeached former president's big lie. And the second, that the violent insurrection that the big lie wrought, the MAGA mob's deadly siege on the Capitol on January 6th, did not happen as we all saw it happen with our very own eyes on live TV. Well, turns out Liz Cheney wants to find out what actually happened, unlike the clowns in her party. She told the Today Show her demand for a commission looking into the insurrection was the last straw against her for the rest of the GOP.
I've been very public that commission needs to be bipartisan. It needs to look only at January 6th and the events leading up to it, not at the BLM and Antifa riots last summer. And I think that kind of intense, narrow focus threatens people in my party who may have been playing a role they should not have been playing.
Playing a role they shouldn't have been playing. Like perhaps the trio who Ali Alexander, the organizer of the rally preceding the insurrection, says helped him plan it. Alabama's Mo Brooks, who spoke at the rally that day. Arizona's Andy Biggs, chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, and Paul Gosar, who thinks the insurrectionists were the real victims. Gosar had the temerity to make that claim at a hearing yesterday, with the rest of the Republican clown car trying to whitewash the insurrection.
The truth is being censored and covered up. As a result, the DOJ is harassing peaceful patriots across the country.
It was Trump supporters who lost their lives that day, not Trump supporters who were taking the lives of others.
So was January 6th an insurrection, or could it be more accurately described as a mob of misfits?
There was no insurrection, and to call it an insurrection, in my opinion, is a bold-faced lie. If you didn't know the TV footage was a video from January the 6th, you would actually think it was a normal tourist visit.
Yeah, you heard that correctly. Republican Congressman Andrew Clyde, Mr. Normal Tourist Visit. Well, he actually stood by those bizarre comments today.
Do you stand by those statements?
Do you regret saying that? Five people died, including police officers, and you're here today honoring police officers.
If you're honest in your statement.
What's wrong about it when that's what you said?
Think about what you just said. You didn't take what I said in context at all.
So can you explain to us? Explain to us. Explain to us.
Go listen to what I said. Okay.
We did.
So do you believe that January 6th was an insurrection?
That's the problem. We did listen to what you said. And he did that until, of course, he ran away, got into his car and fled. Because these Republicans are too scared to even face the simple question, and so inured to this big lie, which shouldn't be surprising given the fecklessness of their so-called party's leader, Puppet Kevin, who had a conversation on the day of the insurrection with the guy who pulls his strings, the disgraced, twice impeached former president. And according to one of McCarthy's Republican colleagues, Orange Julius Caesar told him, well, Kevin, I guess these people are more upset about the election than you are. Oh, no. Puppet Kevin doesn't want to talk about that. And according to CNN, Puppet Kevin reportedly doesn't want to testify either under oath about his conversation with the former guy concerning the Capitol insurrection. McCarthy apparently also didn't want to talk to Metropolitan Police Officer Michael Fanone, since, as Congressman Eric Swalwell told us on this program last night, Kevin's staff hung up on Officer Fanone when he called to try to arrange a meeting about what he witnessed, what he went through, to get Puppet Kevin to take him seriously. But if Puppet Kevin has any ambiguity about the horrors Officer Fanone faced that day and why he, like Liz Cheney, refuses to be silent, new video has emerged showing exactly what Officer Fanone experienced. And we should warn you, it's disturbing.
I got you, man. I got you. I got it. Can't do this. Why the are you here?
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.